Howdy, my name's Jenna Butcher, and today I'm going to share with you a resource that hopefully you too can utilize in your classroom. Wikispaces is a free resource for educators that helps track student interaction, promote digital literacy, and help students hone in on their writing skills. This is a multifaceted resource with many implications for the classroom. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for how-to, setup, and even more implementations into the classroom. Now we're going to go into the how-to and the setup part of my Wikispaces resource video. First things first, I've gone to the Wikispaces website, which is just wikispaces.com. Very simple, very easy to remember. Then the first thing you see is that we're prompted to choose between education and everyone else. Obviously, we're educators, so we're going to choose education. When you choose education, you automatically get free access to all the Wikispaces you could ever want. Wikispaces has partnered with educators all around the United States and all around the world, probably, to provide this classroom management, this academically based straight space for teachers and students to interact and collaborate. So it's prompting us as teachers to create a free classroom now. I've actually already made my account, so I'm going to go ahead and click the sign in button at the top. See here, it asks for my username and email. My name here is Miss Butcher, so sign me in. I've got two different wikis going on right now. I want to show you the first one right here, Miss Butcher's Classroom. It's a little bit more organized, a little bit more thought through. So basically, what I'm about to show you is a sharing platform for teachers and students. Wikis are really cool in that they allow your classroom to extend beyond just the 8 to 3 or whatever your classroom times may be. Students, if they have access to computers and internet at their house, may work on projects at home potentially. Though I wouldn't make that a homework priority, or I wouldn't assign that as an assignment necessarily for them to take home, just because you don't know if students have access to internet or not. But it is a real fantastic way for students to get on board and to interact with each other, because oftentimes we know that the quiet students get left behind and the more outgoing students kind of maybe overrun the discussion in the classroom. So this is a way to kind of equalize that discussion environment in your classroom. There is a few great features that the wiki boasts. There's the there's the pages feature, which is where you would upload your information pages, probably your instructions for what you want your students to do. Maybe if you're absent one day and you have a sub and they're supposed to be working on their iPads, this page would explain what you expect of them. Here you'd upload a file. So same as the page, you could upload your Word document here. You can upload a YouTube video here. You could upload a primary source document if you're a social studies teacher and you need students to match the primary source document against something they read in a textbook. This is where those files would go, and they pop up on your news feed just as a page would that you posted earlier. The discussion bubble is probably one of my favorite things. You just type in your subject, so we'd say theme discussion over the crossover. In the body, I would say, please discuss themes you've found in the crossover. The crossover is just a novel that I've been reading in my field class, so that's why I chose this example. You'd post it, and then the students would be able to see it, and they can comment under here and say, I have found themes such as the loss of innocence and growing up, something like that. And you could obviously put certain stipulations, whether you want it to be 50 words, 100 words, etc., or just a sentence. Sometimes a sentence is all it needs to get that student's learning across the board. The next cool feature I'm going to talk about with you is the project feature. This is a little bit harder. It takes a little more working through. It's kind of hard to explain in a short, succinct amount of time. But basically, you can create a project for your students to do. You can name it and then describe it. You can give it a start date so it won't open until a certain point in time, and then give it a due date, and it will automatically close on that due date, whatever date you set it as. If you go to projects up here on this orangey coral bar, you can see that I've created just a mock project called Project-Based Learning. Its permissions are private, which means that only me and my classroom can see it. So we'll click Project-Based Learning. I've got different teams allotted right here. If I had students in my classroom, they'd be right here, and I'd be able to put them into different teams. And you could do this based on ability grouping. You could do it completely random. If it was maybe a more casual project, you could let them pick their own teams. There's various ways you can do this. And then within each team, you can click on it and you can add their own work. So each team may have a different assignment that they're working towards for the bigger project. My example that I'm using here is, again, themes in the crossover, and it's just a discussion for Team 1. So Team 1 would come in and they would discuss and they would figure out what themes they see, and then maybe I would have them write a paper, or maybe I'd have them find other examples where they've seen that theme in other books that they've read this semester or in their past. Finally, I would say probably the crowning jewel of Wikispaces is this assessment portion. So up here on the coral banner, you see that there's assessment, and this gives you an instant formative assessment for all your students. As you can see down here, there's a key. It says no activity. The green indicates that there's been reading going on or that the page has been opened. Black indicates that writing's been happening. And red indicates that a page has been saved. So you can see that within the past 30 minutes, Miss Butcher, myself, I've been reading for all this amount of time. I think this is really great because oftentimes when you give students a technology-based assignment, it's hard to tell if they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing unless there's a product that's made from that technological assignment. Here it's really easy. You can get on, you can see what students are doing, you can see if they're reading, you can see if they're writing, you can see if they're making progress and saving those pages and moving forward. I think it really supports teachers because of what I explained earlier. It helps teachers to know that their students are actually working on this wiki. And before I go, we'll just go back to home page. When I was in 8th grade, we did something sort of like this. We did a Wikispace, I think is what it was called. It was for our 8th grade history class, and so that's why I chose this. It's been a few years since 8th grade, obviously, for all of us, and I wanted to try it out again, and it's changed a lot. It's way more like eCampus now, even kind of Facebook with this news feed that we've got going on right here. When I used it, it was really just a place where you could have discussions. It didn't have all this extra stuff that I've explained so far. But I'm really glad that I chose it because I think it will bode well in the classroom. I think you can use it in centers. That's the way my brain's working right now. I really see it being used in centers where you might have different groups of students who rotate through the classroom, and one of the centers they may go through could be the Wikispace classroom, and this is where they would work where they would work on their phone or an iPad or computer, etc., to finish the project that you've assigned, or to read the article that you've posted, or to watch that video that you want them to, and you'd be able to track all of that behavior and better help your students once you know what they're doing. Overall, I think Wikispaces would be a great addition to any classroom, and I hope that you'll take the time to get on it and kind of explore it for yourself. Thanks for watching.